little about yourself?
Yeah.
What do you know about yourself?
I had 5 kids. Made my son become a world champion who now fights in the UFC.
I win. You all.
And I sacrificed my whole life from off the street to give him everything. And a friend of his, Sam, and another guy, Chandler, they talked him into selling me out and stealing my story from coming up off the street as a fighter. And it's not true.
Oh, he quits again. I can't believe it.
Declared the winner by TKO, Joe
I probably got beat a minimum of 5 times a week.
Here he is here. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good.
You know, it usually was over jiu-jitsu.
What do we got? There he is here. Looks pretty good. There's the love there. There's the love there. So everything he said about having a hard life was just to sell out my story out of spite.
If you got so frustrated, he would grab you by your hair and throw you face down and then tell you to go to your room and leave you in your room for days.
I mean, what would the conversation be between you and your siblings?
We wouldn't really like have a conversation other than that we would say we hated him. So I started to resent jiu-jitsu and hate it, and I just wanted to play with toys and I wasn't really allowed. And if I did play with toys, he would come in my room and like kick all. I've been spending like hours building Lincoln Logs. And he would just come in and took pleasure in making me cry and would like and smash all, like kick it all over my room.
This actually comes from a guy that's on my team who's got, believe it or not, a very similar upbringing to you. And so I told you at the beginning, like, this is gonna touch a lot of people.
Joe Pyfer spoke very highly of you and said that you'd got him a house and you'd given him some money outside the Contender Series. I'm curious why you did that and what exactly is it about Joe Pyfer that you like so much and wanted to help out?
Joe Pyfer, when I left the press conference that night, he told me that he was about to be homeless.
The one example I wanted to give you is that we had no heat, so we lived in a farmhouse that you had to use oil for heat, and we couldn't afford it. It was a couple $100, and it was like $450 every time you would fill it. It would last like a month and a half, 2 months, and we couldn't afford it. And it was winter, and I went down in the morning. I think I'm like 6 years old, and I turned on the heater, and I was sitting by the heater. And the electric heater takes a long time to heat up, and I was sitting by the heater, forgot to turn it off. So I had it on low, you know, but regardless, you know, he tried to pull, oh, you could have burnt the house down, blah, 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 blah. So he lined us all up, and he was like, I'm going to beat every one of you until one of you tells me the truth. And I did a fucked up thing. I blamed my sister. I was scared. He's even made a documentary recently to try and say that I stole his story. He's the real homeless kid, and people have been trying to put his name down.
You made a documentary?
Right there. There was the basement. They had me locked in there and treat me like I was a dog. And I got up out of the door, came out here, ran down Salmon Street, and I never looked back.
So I always had this dream, though. I always had this dream. I always wanted to fight. I always wanted to be in the UFC. I always envisioned people chanting my name.
Joe Pyfer makes his UFC debut after his Week 1 performance on the Contender Series. Joe Pyfer was the only person picked on the season debut, which led me to remind everyone, be Joe Pyfer.
And what he wanted me to ask you is, as you start to amass the success that you're seeing and getting in the UFC and making a name for yourself, and how do you combat the voices in your head, the self-sabotage from all that you went through with your dad and your family, and you'll never amount to nothing, hoping you would die, I'll kill you. How do you keep those voices from entering your head, or what do you do when they do?